Trump unexpectedly blamed Zelensky for starting the conflict with Russia. According to The Independent, the statement was made by Trump in an interview with host Sean Hannity on Fox News. The interview was broadcast on January 23, after host Hannity asked about the threat of increasing sanctions against Russia if the conflict continued. Trump did not answer the main question but mentioned Ukraine. Trump said Zelensky had had enough and wanted to settle with Russian President Vladimir Putin. Zelensky is no angel and this war should not have happened. Trump said he was going to fight a much bigger country. He was tough but he shouldn't have done it. Because we could have made a deal. Trump said in the interview, "If I were Mr. Zelensky, I would have made a deal easily." Mr. Trump stressed, claiming that Mr. Zelensky was the one who started the conflict with Russia. "We could have made a deal easily. But Mr. Zelensky decided, I want to fight." Mr. Trump said. Mr. Trump's new statement is somewhat similar to the statement of Russian President Vladimir Putin about the reason for the conflict. Mr. Putin once said that Mr. Zelensky could have resolved the conflict with Russia through a deal. By respecting the wishes of the Russian-speaking community in eastern Ukraine. Mr. Putin said that Ukraine showed signs of preparing for an attack to crush the pro-Russian separatists and Moscow launched a military campaign in response to Kiev. According to observers, Mr. Trump seems to be trying to push Russia and Ukraine to the negotiating table by making tough statements to both sides. On January 23, the Kremlin said it did not see anything really new in Mr. Trump's threat and affirmed that Russia was ready for an equal, mutually respectful dialogue with the new U.S. administration. In other news, Zelensky speaks out after Putin makes statement about Trump. Zelensky accuses Putin of trying to manipulate Trump. Putin wants to manipulate U.S. President Donald Trump's desire for peace. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said in a speech on the evening of January 24, "I believe that this attempt at manipulation will not succeed." Zelensky added that Russia is ready to prolong the conflict in Ukraine and seek to manipulate world leaders. Zelensky's comments came after Putin described U.S. President Donald Trump as a trustworthy person and said the two sides had many common points to discuss, including the conflict in Ukraine. Putin also said that the Russia-Ukraine conflict might not have broken out if Trump had won the 2020 U.S. presidential election. The Russian president also affirmed his readiness to dialogue with Trump on the Ukraine issue. U.S. begins mass deportation of illegal immigrants. Days after President Donald Trump took office, U.S. authorities arrested more than 500 illegal immigrants and deported hundreds. The Trump administration has arrested 538 illegal immigrants, said White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt, adding that hundreds were deported by military aircraft. Leavitt said the largest mass deportation operation in history was going well, confirming Trump's campaign promise. Newark, New Jersey, Mayor Ras J. Baraka said Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, agents raided a local facility, detaining many immigrants but also mistakenly arresting some U.S. citizens. As of January 23, ICE announced it had arrested 538 people and detained 373 in the operation. U.S. freezes nearly all foreign aid. A few days after Trump's executive order, the U.S. State Department announced that it had frozen nearly all foreign aid, except for some aid to Egypt and Israel. The U.S. State Department's statement did not mention maintaining aid to Ukraine and Taiwan, China. According to CNN, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio sent a telegram to all U.S. diplomatic agencies abroad on January 24, requesting a halt to all funding activities, including aid that is being dispersed and new aid. In the next few months, the Trump administration will develop standards for evaluating which foreign aid is consistent with President Trump's foreign policy. The telegram said, the decision to continue, change or cancel the assistance program will be announced after the assessment. The content said, mentioning that the assessment would last no more than 85 days. South Korean court rejects extension of arrest warrant for President Yoon. The Seoul Central District Court on January 24 rejected a request to extend the detention of South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol until early next month. The request was made by the South Korean prosecutors. The special prosecutors in charge of investigating the martial law had filed a request with the Seoul Central District Court to extend the arrest warrant for President Yoon until February 6. However, the Seoul Central District Court rejected the request. South Korean law stipulates that a suspect can be detained for up to 10 days. With the possibility of an additional 10 days. Mr. Yoon was officially arrested on January 19, after the detention period expired. In rejecting the request, the court said that there was no legitimate reason for the prosecution to continue the investigation. This is a case that the agency received from the Corruption Investigation Office for High-Ranking Officials of Korea, CIO. The CIO transferred Mr. Yoon's case to the prosecution amid controversy surrounding allegations that the agency lacked legal authority to prosecute the South Korean president.